What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining me right here on Outside the Brand. This is episode 274 for your November 9th, 2022. I'm your host, Phil, and of course, this is Outside the Brand. Thank you so much for joining me right here on your Wednesday nights, wherever you may be. Dynamite happened about an hour ago. I'm sorry for the very, very late review. I usually do these basically right after the shows go off the air, but my computer is on its last legs right now, and I'm trying to figure out, other avenues, other alternatives to try to get to basically do the show for you guys, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks when when your setup just does not work for you. It's just I take this stuff with pride, and I do everything in my power to make sure everything works, and sometimes it just doesn't. So I try to do the best that I can, and it's not really working out the best for me right now. But we are here, and we are doing the best that we can. We are going to be doing a full show review of AEW Dynamite tonight. We had a pretty good show of AEW Dynamite tonight. It was better than last week's, that's for damn sure. But on the road to Full Gear, it just feels like AEW has been kind of directionless as of late, and it just doesn't really have that type of a feel that AEW Dynamite usually has when it comes to big shows like this. When it comes to big pay-per-views, we usually have full sense of direction. We have a sense of urgency, and right now it just doesn't feel like that. But we are getting there. We're slowly getting there, and hopefully next week on AEW Dynamite, when I am there, which is the final Dynamite before we head to Full Gear, I hope we're going to be having at least somewhat of a direction heading into Full Gear. We got a lot more matches set up for Full Gear tonight. We got, basically Full Gear is shaping up to be a fantastic show. It's just the fact that AEW Dynamite, when it comes to the pacing of the show, when it comes to just the overall quality of the show, we're trying to get through some things heading into Full Gear. And right now, it might not be the best, but it's definitely not the worst it's been. And when we are trying to get things going, it usually takes a little bit. But as of right now, AEW Dynamite has been pretty good, and it was definitely a better show tonight than it was definitely from last week. So we're going to be doing a full show review of AEW Dynamite tonight. We had Daniel Bryan, fuck. We had Bryan Danielson taking on Sammy Guevara in a best 2 out of 3 falls match. Incredible main event between these two. No matter what you think of Sammy Guevara is a fantastic in-ring talent, and Bryan Danielson's one of the best in the world today, easily. Samoa Joe finally turned on Wardlow tonight. Wardlow, he called out Powerhouse Hobbs, and Samoa Joe, he doesn't take too kindly to being disrespected. He doesn't take too kindly to being pushed around. So Samoa Joe finally turned on Wardlow tonight, and we possibly could have a sense of direction when it finally comes to the TNT Championship. We could possibly be seeing a triple threat at Full Gear between Samoa Joe, Wardlow, and Powerhouse Hobbs, which should be fantastic. And I can't wait for that if that does get announced for next week's show. And yeah, man, we got a great 8-man tag team match to start off the show with 4 incredible tag teams to start off the night with the Guns, Swerve and Glory, FTR, and the Acclaimed. That was a great 8-man tag team match to start off the show. We had Sky Blue taking on Jamie Hayter tonight, which was fantastic. Sky Blue got some offense in there, but it was ultimately for Jamie Hayter to get some momentum heading into her match at Full Gear with Toni Storm. We had a TNT Championship Open Challenge, but that was answered by Ariya Daivari, so that was basically a throwaway match just to get Wardlow on TV, which set up that Samoa Joe heel turn, and much more to happen tonight on AEW. So we're going to be going over everything that happened on the show tonight, and we will be doing this as I don't want to do it as fast as humanly possible because I do want to give it time and I do want to show you guys what I really do think heading into full gear. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday. So I do want to I do want to give it time. It's just honestly the review should have been over by now if it wasn't for my computer and if it wasn't for my setup just not working the way that it usually does. So we're going to be doing things in a timely manner and we're going to be going over everything to happen on AEW Dynamite tonight. Professional wrestling is at an all-time high right now, guys. AEW Dynamite's heading into full gear. WWE has been doing some great things as of late, and now we are heading into the biggest pay-per-views of the year, that is being Survivor Series and Full Gear. So I do want you guys to be here for the long haul for that. So if you guys want to be here on Outside the Brand for the long haul, and if you guys want to join the Outside the Brand family, if you guys want to be a part of the OTB fam, all you guys got to do is hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell for all notifications. That way you never miss when we go live, as we go live every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday for your guys' enjoyment. So hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell, and make sure you guys go support us over on bonfire.com, the exclusive home of Outside the Brand, and its merchandise. You guys can go get your OTB merch today only on bonfire.com, the exclusive home of OTB and its merchandise. You guys can go follow all of us all on social media, all the TikTok links and all the rest of the social media links that we have provided for you. That is in the description of the video. So go down in the description. If you guys want to follow all of us on TikTok, you definitely can. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, all those links are down in the description below. And yeah, we have all those ready for you guys. And if you guys missed anything over the last couple of weeks on the channel, it is all on the homepage. So go check that out. It's all in amazing playlist for you guys. I finally updated everything so you guys have, if you guys missed anything, just go check it out. It's all on the homepage for you guys to enjoy. So I want to thank you guys so much for joining us right here on OTB. I see Aiden in here. I see Tony in here. I see Ariane. I don't want to butcher your name. Is it Ariane? If it is, welcome. I don't know if you're new here. I mean, I feel like you're new here. I haven't seen your name here in the live chat before, but if you are new, welcome to the OTB family. If you haven't subscribed yet, and if you like pro wrestling, hit that subscribe button as we go live basically almost every day of the week for you when it comes to post show reviews and a special Tuesday episode where we just talk pro wrestling with the guests. It's a great time over here on OTB. So please hit that subscribe button and join the OTB family today. They left you by yourself tonight. Hey, it's all right, bro. It's all right. The entire setup wasn't even working tonight anyway. So, I mean, to be fair, I'm trying to get things back in order before I really let anybody in to the show, because if my setup isn't working, then this entire podcast isn't really up to be even a thing. So, because it's all basically ran through my setup here. If my setup doesn't work, then OTB can't even exist. So I'm basically just, trying to get things figured out before I even let people in, because if it just crashes, then we have no show. So did you get that new laptop? It's here. It's here, but it's my Christmas gift this year. So I'm waiting for Christmas to actually use it. I want to use it now. Trust me, I want to use it now, but I can't use it now because it's gonna be my Christmas gift. So I mean, I don't know. I have to basically use this broken laptop until the end of December to just get the new laptop. It's just a thing. It's my big Christmas gift this year. So there you go. And we got some freaking bots in here again. God damn it. God damn it. Why are these bots here in the live chat? I thought, God, stop being here. These. Oh, Jesus Christ, these bots. But yeah, we're gonna get into everything, guys. I can't. I can't wait for that new laptop beta, and that's basically what I'm saying. Um, thought you defeated them. That they're always gonna show up. I guess. I don't know. I don't know, but man, we're gonna be getting right into the show tonight, guys. I do kind of wanna not waste any more time. Uh, and yeah, we're just gonna get right into everything. So let's get right into the AEW Dynamite post show on OTB. So, it's Wednesday night. You know what that means. It's time for another episode of AEW Dynamite. We are here live in Boston, Massachusetts, as the commentators go and welcome us to the show as we kick things off with huge 8-man tag team action with FTR teaming with the Acclaimed, taking on Swerve in Our Glory and the Gun Club. So, this is what we got here going on right now. We got things going on. We got this massive 8-man tag team match to start up the show, which was a great 8-man tag match to start up the show. We got 4 of the best AEW tag teams right now that is being featured on AEW Dynamite television in 8-man tag team action. All of these guys are in some way, shape, or form getting into one another when it comes to tag team championship gold. So it's definitely just a great way to get everybody involved in the show, and it's a great way to just showcase tag team wrestling over on AEW, because AEW has one of the best tag team divisions in the entire world of pro wrestling. So it is great to see great tag team action on AEW. So we had Colton, Gunn, and Cash go overboard as the Acclaimed have Swerve isolated. Lee then catches uh, a Bowens Hurricane Rana into a powerbomb to take out Caster and Bowens at the same time. The audio and feed kept cutting out for some strange reason. I think there was just some problem in the truck, but Swerve hit a tornillo off the turnbuckles to the Guns and the Acclaimed. Dax with a huge superplex onto the other men on the outside of the ring, which was a great spot. And then we had Dax getting Austin into the ring. Now, but Austin with a series of jabs. Dax then hit. He takes him out, and then we got a sharpshooter by Dax to Austin Gunn. Colton breaks it up, but misses a famouser. Arrival by Bowens, and then a mic drop by Max Caster. A big rig by FTR, and we got a 1-2-3. FTR and the Acclaimed pick up the victory. This is, like I said, this was just a great tag team match to showcase 4 of the best tag teams that are in AEW right now. All 4 of these men, or all 8 of these men, I should say, but all 4 teams are in line for tag team championship gold at some point within their careers here in AEW. We obviously got the Acclaimed as the World Tag Team Champions. We got Swerve in Our Glory taking on the Acclaimed at Full Gear for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. We got FTR holding 3 sets of tag team titles, so they're obviously being protected here with this win. And obviously the Gun Club. The Gun Club, listen, as much as people love calling them the ass boys, as much as people like, just making fun of these guys, they are great. They're just a great tag team, and they are great professional wrestlers. They're great at what they do, and they have the crowds in the palm of their hands at times because they are good at what they do, and they love healing it up. So I think they all have bright futures here in AEW. I think all of them really do have great chemistry with each other. They got all great assets no pun intended, with the Ass Boys to really make something of this tag team division. So I think it's a great, I thought it was just a great way to kick things off. It was a great way to just get tag team wrestling into the fold of AEW, and it's just a great showcase for all these guys because not a lot of television time. The television time is very scarce here in AEW, as we all know, and you gotta make your moments. You gotta make your moments when they count here in AEW. You gotta give the people what they want, and you gotta just make them want more. And I think with this 8-man tag team match, I think we're really getting that. I think we're getting the best of both worlds when it comes to tag team wrestling and just showcasing great talent when it comes to AEW. So I do really like the way that things were going down here. And FTR and the Acclaimed pick up the win here. Obviously, FTR and the Acclaimed will meet in singles tag team action, if that makes any sense. Singles tag team. You get what I mean. They're going to be facing each other at some point, but that has to be when the timing's right, and that has to be also when FTR doesn't hold too many tag team championships. Because let's face it, when they have 3 tag team titles, they're carrying a ton of promotions on their back right now. And right in the Acclaim, they're holding it down here in AEW as the tag team champions here. So we'll get them. We will get the Acclaimed and FTR in tag team action at some point. But FTR needs to lose some of those titles, and we need to figure out when the right time is for FTR and the Acclaim to face off in tag team action. So we'll get that eventually, but not right now. Post match, all 4 raise their belts and celebrate in the ring. The commentators talk about MJF and his interview on Pardon My Take and cut to a video of that interview. He said he is worried about Full Gear and how people don't understand why it's the most important thing in wrestling right now. It could be a crowning of a new face of the generation. He names Flair, The Rock, John Cena, Hulk Hogan, Dusty Rhodes, etc. He says that's who MJF is. All he has to do to etch his name into history is to have a long, fruitful reign. He thinks Mox is a scumbag piece of shit from the slums, but he respects him. He calls him unauthentic, but says that he respects all his sacrifices and says that he is the best wrestler on God's green earth. It ends at Full Gear because MJF is the guy who can do everything: TV, movies, talk shows, etc. He can bring pro wrestling back to where people can talk about it again. He's sick of waiting his turn. He talks about his first match being against a neck tattoo, aka Cody Rhodes. His first pay-per-view match, I should say, being up against a neck tattoo in Cody Rhodes. Matt's fall on pay-per-view, and his return was marred by a press conference. Obviously, the CM Punk Young Bucks, basically the CM Punk and Elite situation, that drama. He's grabbing the spotlight, and come Full Gear, the devil will get his due. MJF is just perfect. In every sense of the word. Every sense of the imagination, MJF is just flawless in what he does. He's flawless in what he brings. He's flawless in what he brings to the table. And as a fantastic talker, but also a fantastic in-ring worker. MJF is winning that world championship at Full Gear. And if nobody believes in that, if you don't believe that MJF is winning that championship at Full Gear, you are legitimately kidding yourself. MJF is going to be the next AEW World Champion because at this point in time, MJF is the one that is carrying AEW on his back. And yes, there's a guy named Jon Moxley. I understand that. Jon Moxley is fantastic at what he does. He's carried AEW for the first 3 years of the company, and he absolutely has a chance to retain this championship at Full Gear. But if you want to give the hot hand and if you want to do the right thing, Tony Khan, you have to put the title on MJF. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You do that thing and you get it all done and you get it settled, situated, and done with. You have MJF win this thing. You have him hold on to it for months on end, and you see where things go because this man deserves a long and fruitful title reign, like he said, and he can put AEW on the map just like that. I love it. AEW has a gold mine and has a gem in MJF. All you gotta do is just pull the trigger. That's all. I MJF needs to win this championship, Tony, and I understand where you're coming from with the double turn, but I just think it has to happen. You want the hot hand. You need to have a hot commodity as AEW World Champion. Not saying that Jon Moxley is not a hot commodity, but with everything going on right now and with everything that you have in MJF, you capitalize on that moment and you capitalize on the hot hand, and that hot hand is MJF. If you want to do some kind of double turn, you have Regal turn on Jon Moxley and you have Regal be the one to join up with MJF and just completely turn AEW on its side and you legitimately make a paradigm shift in the whole uh in the whole grand scheme of things, and you have Regal be on the bad side, and that is MJF. I mean that's incredible to even think about, and you have that hot hand right there with you. I think Regal is going to turn on Moxley, and we have MJF as the AEW World Champion. It could happen. It could happen. How it's going to be very interesting, though. It's going to be very interesting, and I do think that MJF is going to be the World Champion. So we'll see. We will see come November 19th what happens. What happens. So we will definitely see going forward. We then had the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament quarterfinal match between All Ego Ethan Page and Eddie Kingston. This was a good match for what it was. I think this was a great start off for the tournament. And we had and we all know what this is leading towards, right? We all know that this is going to be leading towards an AEW World Championship matchup at AEW's Winter is Coming event happening in Texas in middle to late December, I should say. And we have All Ego Ethan Page actually advancing into this thing. I thought it could have been Eddie Kingston, but no, we have All Ego. We have All Ego Ethan Page winning this matchup because of the firm. And he moves on into the semifinals as he will be taking on either Rush or Bandito next week. So that should be very, very fun to say the least. As we had both of them are up to their feet at this point as they try to as they keeps slugging, but Eddie with a big chop, a series of chops, and a big DDT. 1, 2, and a kick out by All Ego Ethan Page. It was a very close 2 count at that. I honestly thought it could have been it there, but Eddie then tries to hit an exploder, but Page fights out of it. Eddie then fights him off and is able to hit an exploder. A stretch plum locked in, and Page is tapping, but Stokely is on the apron. And then Ortiz finally yanks him off the apron, but Page comes back with a huge boot and a roundhouse kick. Obviously, the referee did not see the tap out by Page. So we had a huge boot and a roundhouse kick. Eddie then cuts Page off as at the top and bites him, but Page sends Eddie into the post. Ethan then hits a huge Eagle's Edge from the second rope, and we got a 1, 2, 3. And that was it. All Ego Ethan Page picks up the win and advances into the semifinals of the AEW Dynamite AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament, I should say. So, Ethan Page is fantastic in the ring. I don't care what anybody says. I do believe that he is one of the most underutilized and most underrated talents that they got here in AEW. Ethan Page is fantastic, and I think that with him advancing, I honestly think now he advances into the finals. I do. I think Ethan Page is going to be in the finals at Full Gear, and we will see where things go from there. If it sets up something between MJF and the firm after all of this, I mean, I guess that makes sense in a way, but I think Ethan Page does move on into the finals when that is all said and done, and we will have Ethan Page at Full Gear against whoever wins the right side of the bracket, which I do believe is still going to be Ricky Starks, but we will see come this Friday on AEW Rampage. When I think we have like 2 out of the 3 happening on AEW Rampage this coming Friday, so we'll see where things go from there. Overall, very good match there. Ethan Page advances. Do I think it's the right outcome? I do and I don't at the same time. I really wanted to see Eddie Kingston go to New Jersey, but it's all right, I guess. Ethan Page, I mean, there's obviously something going on there with the firm and MJF anyway, so it does make sense to have Ethan win. It's just the fact of the matter that I really didn't want to see Eddie Kingston at least get some kind of an opportunity heading into a world championship match, but that is okay. Eddie Kingston will get his time. It's just not right now. So, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it does make sense to have Ethan Page win. I'm not saying that it doesn't. It's just I really did want to see um something go down with Eddie Kingston, but he'll have his time, I guess. I think he'll have his time at some point. It's just it's gotta it's gotta mean something, and it's gotta, you know, breathe, right? So we'll get there when we get there for Eddie Kingston. Post match, Renee then interviews Roosh and Dark Order. He claims Roosh will. Obviously, his assistant claims that Roosh will win this entire tournament, and Ten will get the first title shot when he is now the AEW World Champion, while the Dark Order isn't going to get any at all. John Silver then calls him Roosh Bag, and they have a little bit of a fight backstage, but it was quickly uh, cut short, and they were split apart. So it was good there. So Johnny Hungy, I mean John Silver, he's fantastic. So that Roosh bag comment was pretty cool. It was pretty funny. I actually kind of laughed at that. Um so we then had the TNT Championship Open Challenge where Ariya Daivari accepted. This was honestly kind of worthless to me, to be completely fair. The match was what happened after the match was way more important than the match itself. So Wardlow destroyed Daivari with headbutt, and he hit a wind up lariat, legitimately decapitated Ariya Daivari. He signals for the Powerbomb Symphony and kills Daivari with 4 power bombs. and he just steps on his chest for the cover. 1, 2, 3, and that was it. Post-match, Wardlow immediately calls out Hobbs, and he obliges. He comes out. He says, quote, what does Powerhouse Hobbs says, and I quote, "We do this on my time." Wardlow then says, "Finally, we have a suitable opponent for me and my TNT Championship. He is going to keep the TNT title and take every other championship in this company." Samoa Joe then wipes out Wardlow with a huge, just a vicious attack by Samoa Joe to the TNT champion. Joe is choking out Wardlow with a sleeper, and Wardlow is completely out cold as Hobbs is laughing on the ramp. Joe stares out Wardlow and whispers something as Hobbs screams, "I'll get you too," at Joe. This is setting up a triple threat match at Full Gear. This is basically setting up a triple threat match for the TNT Championship at Full Gear, and I absolutely love that. I love that Samoa Joe is going to get involved in all of this. I love that. Obviously, we're actually getting some kind of sense of fucking direction with the TNT Championship, because the TNT Championship has been feeling directionless for months with Wardlow as champion, and that definitely should not be the case. And Powerhouse Hobbs he's just fantastic at what he does. So the TNT Championship finally getting some sort of direction heading into Full Gear. We're going to be getting a triple threat match at AEW Full Gear with Wardlow defending against Samoa Joe and Powerhouse Hobbs. It is going to be a great thing, and I do believe to be to be all, to be in all fairness, we should get a new TNT champion. Wardlow was okay as TNT champion, but he absolutely did nothing with this championship. He did nothing with the title. He didn't. It's not his fault that he didn't do anything with the championship, but the fact of the matter is that he didn't do anything with the championship, and that is a big problem. AEW Dynamite has had a huge problem in the past, and as of right now, obviously, with booking babyface champions. Babyface champions are not really AEW's strong suit, because when you have the championship as a babyface, the chase is better than the outcome. The outcome may be great for that one day when you actually get the championship in your hands, but once you have it, you got to continue the momentum. And that's what AEW really tends to lack when it comes to babyface champions, is that they don't have momentum after everything is all said and done. You have momentum as soon as you win the championship, but then once it counts and once you try to get them into storylines, they don't pan out because you don't book them correctly. And when you don't book them correctly, you are in a bit of a situation when things just don't go your way. They didn't go any way of Wardlow's, right? You have a great person in Wardlow who is easily a great asset within your company, and you have a fantastic babyface champion on your hands. But if you don't book him correctly, and if you don't actually see him on AEW television, then how the fuck are we supposed to care? The fact of the matter is the chase is always better than the outcome. And like I said, the outcome, it's going to be great for the first few weeks when you actually use him on television. But after that, you really have to do things based on momentum, and you have to do things based on booking. And they just did not do anything right when it comes to Wardlow's booking as TNT champion. Hangman Adam Page, though, I will say, is that obviously the chase for the AEW World Championship with Hangman was easily the best part about his story when it comes to him. And he had great quality matches when he was AEW World Champion. But the thing that people really didn't lack when it comes to his championship reign is that the fact that he just wasn't really booked all that well. He didn't really have solid direction when it comes to him as AEW World Champion. He had feuds, don't get me wrong. He definitely has some feuds, and there were great feuds at that. But like they kind of just felt they kind of just felt random at times, and they really just didn't really feel that they were supposed to be happening at the right time. I love Hangman, and Hangman was great, and he was a great AEW World Champion. But like I said, these feuds that he had during the course of his reign, they weren't for the right time, and they definitely didn't really have some kind of sense of direction until basically the end of the reign. And then he lost it to CM Punk, and then everything kind of went to shit. So, I mean, there's that. But the TNT Championship has been basically directionless for months now. And we need to get this championship off of Wardlow onto a heel champion, which I do believe is going to happen. I do believe Wardlow is not going to be TNT champion anymore. I don't care whether it's Samoa Joe, and I don't care whether it's Powerhouse Hobbs. I really don't care. You just take the title off of Wardlow and you really get a sense of direction for that TNT championship. My money is on Powerhouse Hobbs. You have Powerhouse Hobbs win that championship because Powerhouse Hobbs is easily somebody that you can get behind. The Book of Hobbs is easily something that you can really gravitate towards, and people will want to go after the TNT Championship with Powerhouse Hobbs. Plus, Samoa Joe's already the Ring of Honor Television Champion. You don't really need to have two championships on Joe right now. And Samoa Joe is obviously going to he's obviously going to be an anchor for Ring of Honor when it does get that TV deal happening in 2023. So Powerhouse Hobbs needs to win the TNT Championship at AEW Full Gear. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday on the 19th. So, Powerhouse Hobbs, TNT Champion. Book it, Tony Khan, or I'll book it for you. I really don't care. So, yeah. We then had the face to face confrontation between Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and Saraya. This was fantastic. This was fantastic, and I don't care what anybody says. To the people that say that Saraya can't talk on the mic, you have no idea what the hell you were talking about because Saraya was fantastic tonight on the mic. Saraya is now fully cleared for in-ring competition. She wanted to get cleared for full in-ring competition when she was in WWE, but WWE did not want to give her the light of day. WWE did not want to give her the time of day, did not even want to take the freaking chance that she could be cleared. And now she is fully cleared after 6 long years of being outside the ring. She is finally cleared, and we will get her first ever in-ring action back since being retired, or being basically forced to retire from that neck injury, happening at Full Gear against Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, and it is going to be a fantastic match. People are already scared for it, and I honestly can see where you're definitely coming from because it's been 6 years and we're trying to figure out how Saraya can go in the ring. But I think it's going to be a great test for her. I think it's going to be a great test for her not only because of the fact that Britt Baker is a great opponent to go up against, but Britt Baker, this whole thing between Britt Baker and Saraya is the house. The house. Now, what is the house, you should say? Not Paige. Saraya. Sorry. I should be used to that by now. Saraya, her entire saying is, "This is my house now. AEW is my house." Britt Baker, she's been holding down this women's division and AEW for the better part of 3 years. We're going to go over everything that happened here in this promo, but whose house is it really? Whose house is AEW's women's division really? and I think that's what they're really trying to figure out here. We're really trying to get into the thick of things here, and this was a fantastic segment by Britt Baker and Saraya. So Tony Schiavone is in the ring as he introduces his very good friend, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. She strolls out to the ring and eventually makes her way into the ring. Saraya is then announced next, and she comes out to a huge pop from the Boston crowd. Baker then looks none too pleased in the ring as Saraya dances and sings along to her ring music, but she also taunts Britt Baker in the corner. Tony is in the middle of both women and starts with Saraya. She says, "People are wondering, will I or will I not wrestle?" They did test, but unfortunately for Britt Baker, I am 100% fully cleared. End quote. The crowd goes absolutely nuts as the emotion takes over Saraya and she screams, "AEW is my house." Baker says, and I quote, anything more than anything more fickle than an AEW fan. Do you still know how to do this? We aren't clear. You've came at me every day, and I think I know why. I built AEW from the ground up. The superstars like you wanted to move into, and I am damn proud of it. The crowd chants DMD. Quote, that pride turns into resentment when you skip in here and call it your house. I call it funny. You didn't lay a single brick. I know why you're obsessed with me. I'm everything you wish you could have been. If you think I am lying, let me remind you, you left your house and walked into mine. I regret to inform you, we don't take walk-ins, so bitch, make an appointment. Fantastic stuff by Britt there. Fantastic stuff. Walking out of your own house just to walk into mine. We don't take walk-ins, so make an appointment. That's fantastic. And this is 100% correct, Tony. This is 100% correct. This is really the first big AEW women's feud outside of a championship. And I hope that with this, because of how great these two have been in this rivalry, with how great of a crowd reaction both of these women get, Tony Khan really does realize that you don't always have to have a championship involved in order to get a feud going. A feud is definitely amplified when an AEW or basically any type of championship is on the line. That is that is not even to be debated by. But the fact of the matter is that you don't always have to have a championship on the line in a feud to get something over with the crowd. This is the first big AEW women's feud without any type of championship, and it's a great thing to see. Tony, we like this. We like this. Okay, we appreciate the fact that there doesn't always have to be a championship involved in a feud to get us invested. I like that. Let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. Let's see what else you have in store. Let's see. I want to see more women involved in this. I want to see more women when it comes to non-championship type feuds. Because I know you got some great women back there and they can be utilized as well. Make feuds that aren't just for championships, and you will be definitely going up there, and you'll definitely be getting a lot better when it comes to this booking thing. Because trust me, you got a lot of shit on your plate. You got a lot of shit on your plate. You got a lot of talent that you need to take care of. Having feuds with championships is great, but also having feuds that are non title is great as well. Keep it up. This is what we like seeing. This is what we truly, truly like to see. I loved everything that Britt Baker said. I thought Britt Baker was fantastic on there, but also we have something that that Saraya was saying as well. And yes, Tony, this is easily something that needs to be addressed as well. One match per week for the women is not killing it. It's not right. You got to do at least more than one women's match on AEW television per week. You legitimately you slot the 9:30 time slot for the women every single week. That's fine. 9:30 time slot, that's perfectly fine for the women. I don't care about that, but you need to have at least more than one women's match on the show every week. That's ridiculous that you only have one match and it happens basically at 9:30 every single fucking time. You may have multiple women's segments on the show, but you always have one women's match and only one women's match. You need more than that. You need more than that. So figure that shit out too, Tony. Not you, Tony, the other Tony. You know what I mean. But yeah, so this is this is what Saraya said in her part of the promo. I think it's cute considering you got everything given to you and you've only been here for 3 years. I've done it 17. You have no idea what it takes to be a star or even a superstar. I got hit by a car and wrestled on the same day. I handed out resumes and turned down because I am a female. I've done MSG, the O2 Arena, Tokyo Dome, and now I'm in front of an ungrateful bitch. You don't know what it takes. I battled my drug addiction publicly. I've given my career and my neck to this business. This is the biggest match of your career. You versus me at AEW Full Gear. End quote. Saraya then drops the mic and they stare off at each other. Britt tries to do a cheap shot on Saraya, but Saraya catches her and hits a rampage and then gets out of the ring and walks off. She celebrates as Baker is pissed off at ringside. I didn't like that though. When she hit the rampage, I liked that. Hitting the rampage, it definitely means that she is definitely ready to compete and she is definitely ready to go. But Britt Baker basically no sold the thing. She no sold it. She just got out of the ring as soon as it was basically over. When Saraya was on top of the ramp and everything like that, we see Britt Baker walking to the back. Sell it. Why didn't you sell the move? Did anybody else find that a little bit weird? She's just walking off basically almost the same time as Saraya did when she got hit with a rampage. I don't get it. I really don't get it. If anybody else saw that, please let me know because she definitely just no sold the move and was just walking to the back almost the exact same time Saraya did. I, like, what? What? So, we then had a match between Trent Beretta and Jay Lethal. This match was not really anything too noteworthy. The match was pretty good. I'm not going to say that it wasn't, but But it definitely wasn't really anything noteworthy. Um, Saraya will shut Britt Baker's mouth. Saraya is winning at Full Gear. There's no doubt about it in my head. I think Saraya definitely has to win her first match back in like 6 years or so. But yeah, that's for damn sure. I don't think she knew that the camera was on. Either way, you need to at least sell it. You need to at least sell a finishing move done to you in the middle of the ring. Whether the cameras are on you or whether they're not, it doesn't matter. You at least sell the move. I, it's just common courtesy, and honestly, it just makes sense. When you're being driven on your head in a lifting up DDT like the Rampage, you sell that shit. You sell that shit, and you make it well known that she's ready to do this. I don't know. It just felt very, very weird to me. It just felt very weird. For trying to pull a Bray Wyatt. Somebody said that she just stood up. She just sat up like the Undertaker. And I mean, either way, she just didn't sell it at all. And I felt like, I mean, that's not disrespectful in a way. Maybe it is disrespectful to the wrestlers. I don't know. I'm not a pro wrestler, so I wouldn't know. But it's just the fact of the matter is, I thought that you would at least try to sell it and at least make it, make it believable that she is ready to do this and she is ready to compete and she can actually get things done. I don't know. It just felt very off to me. So, like I said, we had Trent Beretta taking on Jay Lethal tonight. Uh, this was this was an okay match for what it was, but why did we even need it? What was it even for? I know she did the Rampage in WWE, and now she does it in AEW. So we'll see where things go from there. But I thought Britt Baker should have at least sold it. So Trent sent Lethal hard into the corner and hits a spinning DDT cover for a 2 count. Trent then is still favoring his knee. That was the story of the match on his side, a bum knee. As both men head up top, as Trent hits a nasty avalanche half and half suplex, then a knee strike by Trent. He sets up for Storm Zero, but Sanjay Dutt is on the apron. Danhausen is up and he is going to curse Sanjay Dutt. But Satnam lays out Danhausen. Lethal hit a lethal injection onto Trent for the 1-2-3, and that was it. Jay Lethal picked up the win. So Tony Schiavone is on the ramp interviewing Sanjay Dutt, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. Sanjay tells him to shut up and sit down. He delivers the promise last week that Jeff Jarrett was going to be here on AEW Dynamite. Jeff Jarrett's music then hits as he makes his way out to the ring. This is now a 5-5 show regardless. Jarrett says, and I quote, "After a million views of my debut, the question is why? When a friend calls, a friend shows up. I showed up to help, and we started our plan last week." He talks about the history between Jay Lethal, Satnam, and Sanjay Dutt and himself, giving nods to Global Force as well as Impact Wrestling. He praises Satnam for being a legitimate giant and calls out fake giants in red skinny jeans, Braun Strowman. So, made a shot there to WWE. I mean, he's obviously not, taking his firing too lightly by Triple H, so there you go. just calling out Braun Strowman. He praises the NBA accomplishments that Saddam Singh does have for being the only Indian player in NBA history. He talks about putting people in body bags, and he cusses out a guy who was winding him down for time. He chases the guy down with the guitar as Sanjay stops him as Jared's music hits. So, listen, I said last week that if Jeff Jarrett is going to be on AEW television, it has to be at a minimum because Jeff Jarrett does not need to be on AEW television in 2022. Jeff Jarrett is probably going to be the downfall of AEW if he doesn't actually, just stay the fuck in the back. If Jeff Jarrett TNA's AEW, it's going to be an absolute disaster because AEW does not need a problem like Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett does not need to be in AEW. Jeff Jarrett does not need to be on television. In 2022, there was a reason why Triple H fired Jeff Jarrett's ass in WWE. He does not need to be on WWE television in 2022. So why the hell would he want to be on AEW television in 2022? There's no reason for this man to even be on television. There's not even really a reason for him to be backstage in any capacity for any professional wrestling event that is nationally televised within the United States or basically anywhere in the world for that matter. Jeff Jarrett is not good for business. I said this has to be at a minimum. Jeff Jarrett is wrestling at Full Gear as he teams up with Jay Lethal to take on Sting and Darby Allin. Why? Why the fuck is it happening? I said from the very fucking beginning, you do this at a minimum. You don't use him week by week because everybody already hates Jeff Jarrett with a fucking passion anyway. It makes no sense to use Jeff Jarrett in 2022. The man is petty. The man does not give a shit about professional wrestling. He obviously didn't give a fuck about WWE, otherwise, he would not have mentioned them tonight. It's just disgusting. It's just disgusting. And the fact that Jeff Jarrett is here in 2022 for AEW, I don't understand why we even have to do this. And you bought your full gear ticket, but you didn't expect to see Jeff Jarrett. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I loved seeing Sting live is great. I definitely saw Sting live when AEW Dynamite Grand Slam happened last year, not this past AEW Grand Slam in 2022, but I saw him live in 2021. It's fantastic seeing Sting live. Sting is great seeing live. And Darby Allin is great seeing him live as well. Jay Lethal is a great in-ring performer, and I definitely saw him live once as well. But I would be that sucks. That Jay Lethal, that that Jeff Jarrett is in a fucking match on AEW television in 2022, especially at Full Gear. I hate it. I really do. The guy should not be on television. The guy should not be on television. It's already been week 2. It's only been week 2, and I feel like he's already overstayed his welcome. The guy does not need to be on AEW, especially on television. It sucks. It just sucks. Renee Paquette is backstage and she is interviewing Jack Perry. She asked him about Luchasaurus. He says Christian and Luchasaurus don't decide when it's over, and what happened last week was just the beginning. He says that he will challenge them face to face on AEW Rampage in regards to Full Gear. So we will be getting something happening at Full Gear between all three men. We just got to figure out what they are. I think we're probably going to get Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy at Full Gear again. We just got to figure out what they're going to be doing. But that'll be announced on Rampage this coming Friday. So we'll see where things go from there. Um, exactly. Exactly. Does the feud between Jay Lethal, Danhausen? No, wait, no. What, what the hell is this? Oh, does the feud between Jay Lethal, Darby Allin, Sting, and Sanjay Dutt, basically his entire crew, does that need to be on Full Gear? No, it doesn't. You honestly can just end that on a random episode of Dynamite, and I really wouldn't even fucking care. The fact that it's happening on a fucking pay per view. And Tony Khan has always used his legends well. So the fact we're getting a Jeff Jarrett match in 2022 on a huge pay per view like Full Gear, I just don't get it. I don't get it, and I don't like it, and it's already bringing the show down just based on the fact that Jeff Jarrett is wrestling on a pay per view. I don't like it. I don't like it. John Moxley addresses the AEW crowd, and we have Moxley. He is accompanied obviously by William Regal as he soaks in the love and adoration of every single fan that is in attendance that night. Quote by John Moxley stating, Sir William Regal, how old was I when we met? 25, 26. I was young, full of piss and vinegar, and no arthritis yet. I thought I figured it out. I ran my mouth. I wanted to be feared and respected like you. So I get that. So to get that, I picked a fight with you, and it didn't go well. You tortured me, kicked me, kicked the hell out of me, and it pissed me off. It drove me to work harder, grow, and evolve. When I had a shot, I I knocked you out with a knee, ripped your ear nearly off. You finally said, now the real work begins. Moxon says it reminds him of MJF. He talks about his first match, and I beat him badly and let him know where he stood. Now it's full circle, but what's different about it this time? Who is MJF? We know he's rich, a fake JC Penney clothing guy. He talks the talk of being a big champ, of being a big time champ, but I actually am a multi-millionaire, multi-champion. He calls himself a pillar without never having any weight being put on him. He laughs at MJF calling himself the devil. I've seen the devil. I've met him. I've looked into his eyes. I've been I've been to bad places. I've seen bad people do bad things. You are not like that at all. I want you to fulfill your potential. When you step into the ring in your hometown at Full Gear, everything you've done has been easy, but not this. End quote. Moxley then celebrates as we see Jamie Hayter versus Sky Blue is coming up next, and a video package for the Elite played involving a clock and the boys going back in time to a bunch of timestamps within AEW's history, basically teasing that the return is happening at the Full Gear pay-per-view on November 19th. And that is what I'm basically predicting right now, is that they will be they will be returning at AEW Dynamite's not AEW Dynamite, at AEW Full Gear in 2022. So the Elite's returning. That's great. They should be back by now, and honestly, it's great. It's gonna be great seeing them back. Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. If it wasn't for them, AEW wouldn't be existing. So them coming back, that's a great thing for AEW, and that's a great thing for that locker room as well. But I do want to talk about Jon Moxley and this promo for a second, because Jon Moxley is just fantastic. We all know Jon Moxley is fantastic. I don't think there's really anything else to say other than Jon Moxley is definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, the face of this company. What else do I have to say more about Jon Moxley than what we already know? Jon Moxley is just that fantastic. Like, there's nothing else to say about Jon Moxley. This match is just going to be fantastic. Jon Moxley is going to kill it on come Full Gear. So is MJF. The AEW World Championship is in great hands no matter who wins this championship. No matter if William Regal stays with Jon Moxley, no matter if he turns on Jon Moxley to go with MJF, it doesn't fucking matter. The AEW World Championship is going to be in great hands regardless. The AEW locker room is in great hands regardless, because Jon Moxley is a great leader for that locker room, and MJF, he's just a great mind for the business. And he's only 25 years old, I think. I think he's either 25 or 26. Either way, regardless, they both have great minds for the business. They both are going to be great champions whenever it comes to AEW in whatever way, shape, and form that it's going to happen. And we're going to get a great match at AEW Full Gear. So it's just going to be fantastic. And I think we're going to have a great thing happening at AEW Full Gear. Now, when it comes to the Elite, Tony, you're saying before I thought it was going to be a match with Death Triangle, but now it looks like they just going to show like Bray did at Extreme Rules. That could possibly be the case. I think they probably will be getting involved in they're going to be getting involved somewhere within the show. I don't know where they're going to be involved somewhere in the show, because as of right now, I don't think there is anything planned for the Trios Championships at AEW Full Gear. But let me actually just take a look real quick at the match card, because I don't think there really is anything planned for the Trios Championships at Full Gear. No, we got the World Championship between Mox and MJF. We got the tag team titles on the line. We got the World Title Eliminator Tournament Finals. The Interim Women's World Championship. We got the Ring of Honor World Title. TBS Championship. A singles match between Saraya and Britt Baker. And then we got the tag team match with Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal's, Sting, and Darby Allin. So yeah, no, not yet. At least not yet for the Trios Tag Team Championships. But either way, the Elite will be getting involved in some way, shape, or form at Full Gear. We just got to figure out where. Do you think if the Elite is going to play into the press conference and turn heel? Yes, this is our company. Yes, we book ourselves. Yes, we hire our friends. The fuck you gonna do about it type deal. That's actually a pretty interesting take. I honestly wouldn't even really mind that because of the fact that they really, if they want to play it up, especially because Punk's not really going to be a part of the company anymore. If you really want to be that petty towards CM Punk, I can definitely see that. But also, I mean, that's just really fucked up, to be completely fair. And then Tony Khan would just have another problem in his hands when it comes to all of that. So I hope that doesn't go to that case because then Tony Khan just has another problem on their hands and they don't need that right now. But that is actually very interesting. I didn't really think about that until you just kind of mentioned it. But I don't want that to happen. But if it did actually kind of went that way, it wouldn't shock me whatsoever. But yeah, that would just cause way more problems than solutions to me. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But that doesn't shock me. It doesn't shock me that that possibly could be a thing. So we come back from commercial break as we see a promo package hyping up the 2 out of 3 falls match between Sammy and Bryan. It's going to be a great match regardless, and it definitely was a great match in the main event tonight. Bryan says that Sammy represents all the disrespect from Jericho, Garcia, Wheeler. I am going to use it to kick his fucking head in. Jamie Hayter versus Sky Blue was up next, and this was a pretty damn good match for what it was, to be fair. Blue fires up as Hayter rolls her up for a 2 count and immediately gets rocked with a thrust kick. Hayter then with elbow shots as Blue comes back with a thrust kick of her own. She sends Blue into the corner and hits a series of chops. Blue then gets up on the shoulders of Hayter, but Hayter knocks her off and hits a side lariat for not a side lariat, hits just a lariat for the win, 1, 2, 3, and Jamie Hayter does pick up the win. I mean, hell, I mean they are trolls at the end of the day, so I mean it definitely would not surprise me if they did go that route. I just think it would cause a lot more problems and solutions, and Tony Khan would have a lot more, egos to deal with anyway. So it's just, I don't know, bro. It definitely would not shock me though if they did want to try to go that route. And they are petty at the end of the day, so it does make kind of sense if they did want to do that. Post match, Hayter celebrates and runs down. Uh, she celebrates. She basically gets into the face of Sky Blue. Then Tony Storm comes in for the save and everything like that. As they were basically, they're heading to Full Gear for their interim women's world championship match. So they do their normal things to get there. I mean, this was basically just to get her momentum heading into that match at Full Gear. We had the 2 out of 3 falls match main event next, and this was fantastically well booked. I thought this was great. And Bryan Danielson actually won a match for once within the confines of AEW Dynamite. So this was great to see. And this was a great 2 out of 3 falls match. So I want to preface that we basically had obviously the 3 segments that happened tonight for all 3 falls, because usually when it's the best 2 out of 3 falls match, unless you're like legitimately just trying to get one person over, most of the time we're getting 3 falls. Most of the time we are getting 3 falls when it comes to things like this, and we definitely got 3 falls tonight. One of them was actually due by disqualification, which is pretty cool to see because AEW doesn't really do disqualifications all that often. So the fact that we actually got that tonight was pretty cool. And Bryan Danielson actually winning overall is a great sense of feeling when we have a Fatal 4-Way heading into AEW Full Gear for the Ring of Honor World Championship, and it's a great taste of what the Fatal 4-Way could possibly be like when it comes to Full Gear on the 19th. So it's pretty cool to see. And we saw some great action here, as always. Especially, I mean, you got Sammy Guevara and you got Bryan Danielson. You don't think they're going to shit the bed. So it was a great thing to see. And we had a great match between these two in 2 out of 3 falls. So we had more chops and strikes as Bryan chose toys with Sammy and sends him into every single turnbuckle. Sammy and Bryan in reverse a bunch of Irish whips, but Sammy with a dropkick. Bryan then blocks the tope and immediately hits a shotgun dropkick. Sammy on the outside as Bryan goes to fly, but Ty gets in the way. Bryan then goes to the outside as Sammy chucks a steel chair at Bryan, causing a disqualification, and Bryan Danielson wins the first fall by disqualification. That's actually pretty interesting too. I thought Sammy Guevara was gonna beat Danielson so he can brag to Daniel Garcia about actually beating him in a 2 out of 3 falls match, unlike him. That, huh. I mean, yeah, that does make sense. But Bryan winning here, I mean, it does. When you have Bryan Danielson and Sammy Guevara, if you don't have Bryan win, it's kind of just what are we really doing here? What are we really doing here? So I really could have seen either way. I could have seen it go either way, to be completely fair. That definitely makes sense. If Sammy won, he could have bragged to Daniel Garcia, and we could add a little bit of dissension and tension there in the JAS. But Bryan Danielson, I should say, picked up the win there, and it was a great match regardless. So we had the first fall by disqualification when Sammy Guevara channeled his inner Ace Steel and chucked a steel chair. So Sammy jams a microphone into the eye of Bryan and taunts the crowd before going back to elbowing Bryan in the face, and we go to commercial, and the crowd chants, "Fuck you, Sammy." Great crowd tonight. Great crowd tonight in Boston. Chanting, "Fuck you, Sammy." I love it. We are back from commercial as Sammy is taunting in the corner and goes back to mounting and striking Danielson. He relentlessly throws elbows and punches to Bryan to the busted open wound above his left eye. Bryan then tries to fight back, but Sammy doesn't let him get too far. Bryan then tries to strike, but Sammy does hit a vicious knee and hits the GTH for the 1, 2, 3. And Sammy Guevara wins the second fall, and we are tied at 1 apiece. Now, obviously, when it comes to the third fall, this is definitely the longest portion of the match thus far. So, Sammy tried for the Sammy cutter, the two springboard cutter that he usually does. But Sammy gets trapped into a label lock. Great transition there by Bryan. It was a fantastically well timed transition into a label lock by Bryan. Bryan has it cinched in, but Sammy eventually crawls and makes his way to the ropes so that Bryan has to break it up. Sammy on his knees as Bryan with more kicks to Sammy's chest, leaping knee by Sammy and goes for the GTH, but Bryan drops out and hits a sick Poison Rana by Bryan Danielson. The Poison Rana is always a great move, so having Sammy sell it too, great stuff there. Bryan then fires up and hits a Busaiku knee but Sammy held on and hits a lion tamer on Bryan Danielson. He has that locked in. Center in the ring, nowhere to go, but Bryan makes the brave crawl to the ropes, and that forces a rope break. Sammy then face washes Bryan and gets Bryan up for the GTH, but Bryan falls off and hits a Busaiku knee. Bryan then he's going for a wrist lock, but Sammy counters that into an insane moonsault DDT type of maneuver. But Bryan blocks a senton follow up. Bryan then does elbows to the jaw, basically the hammer and anvil elbows to Sammy Guevara and locks in the label lock once again. Bryan then wrenches back even harder, and Sammy crawls, but Bryan traps the other arm so that he doesn't get into the ropes, and Sammy passes out. Bryan Danielson wins with the label lock and gets the tap out victory. Not even really tap out. Sammy passed out into submission. So Bryan picks up the win in the third fall, and he is the winner of the best 2 out of 3 falls match. And that's basically how you end Dynamite tonight, guys. Bryan Danielson picked up the win here, and commentary ran down the card for AEW Rampage as the show went off the air. I mean, it was just a very simplistic ending of AEW Dynamite tonight. Bryan Danielson, he picked up the win, just like that, and we are good to go. We're good to go. And now is your AEW Dynamite tonight. Like I said, AEW Dynamite tonight was way better than it was last week. We had a little bit of a sense of direction here tonight on AEW, but not too much. We kind of just, we're kind of just getting into the thick of things when it comes to Full Gear. We're not really totally there yet. We don't really have too much to really go upon. We got some great matches for Full Gear, don't get me wrong. But there's not really a sense of urgency for AEW. There's really not much when it comes to pacing of the show right now, and it's just we're just trying to get through the motions, I feel, to get to AEW Full Gear. And I don't really like that because usually AEW loves doing their shows, and they love really taking the time to actually, tell us the stories heading into the show. And hopefully next week's AEW Dynamite proves that we can actually have a full-fledged show and actually make it mean something. I'm going to be at AEW Dynamite next week here in Connecticut. This is the go-home show before Full Gear. It better be a good show. This show is way better than last week. I want the build. I want to see the progression of AEW. And heading into Full Gear, I want Full Gear to be a bang-up show, and I think it will be a bang-up show. It's just the fact of the matter is that we got to really try to figure out where things are going from here. And once AEW Full Gear is, in the rearview mirror, I do believe that we can have a great next few months heading into AEW Revolution, which would be the next pay-per-view. It's just the fact of the matter is we're trying to get to Full Gear, and I think that's what Tony Khan is really trying to do. So we'll see. AEW Dynamite tonight was good though. I really did like the show. We'll see where things go from there. But that's it, guys. It's AEW Dynamite tonight. And that wraps it up for the AEW Dynamite post-show review on Outside the Brand. If you guys liked what you heard tonight, make sure to hit that like button, turn on the bell for all notifications, hit that subscribe button down below as well. Go subscribe. Go follow us all on social media. All the TikTok links are down in the description below. Make sure to tell me in the comments after this video is published what was your favorite part of AEW Dynamite tonight, and what match are you looking forward to the most for AEW Full Gear on November 19th. Do you think MJF is going to win the AEW World Championship, or will Jon Moxley retain that AEW World title? You let me know in the comments. And I'll talk to you guys. I'll talk to you guys on Friday for the Friday Night SmackDown post-show review. I'll talk to you guys soon, guys. Have a good rest of the night. Stay safe. God bless. And peace.